Welcome to the Clark Ford Instant Analysis. Ole Miss moves to 4-2 on the season with a win over ULM. The Harvard on the Bayou, as Neal's been saying all week. They must have had a lot of study in them because pretty poor effort from the Warhawks, pretty prolific effort from Ole Miss offensively. They set the school record for yards in a game. They get Matt Corral a full half of football, do a lot of good things offensively. Defensively, early in the game, ULM kind of shoots itself in the foot. Ole Miss takes advantage of that, ends up getting after the quarterback a little bit. Neal, we're going to mostly talk about Arkansas here, but I guess as we start out, though, what you kind of see from this game from an Ole Miss perspective.
Yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, that's what an SEC team is supposed to do against a middle-of-the-pack, lower-of-the-pack Sun Belt team. They're supposed to destroy them, and they did systematically. I thought Jordan Ta'amu was very, very good. Obviously, ULM's defensive backs were no match whatsoever for any of Ole Miss's wide receivers. Scotty Phillips did his thing, and like you said, defensively, we can have a debate. If anybody wants to, I don't, about the aesthetics of what they did defensively and are they better or are they not. We'll find out down the road. But they did make some plays. They got some stops. They made some things happen. They got off the field and let the offense do its thing, and the game was over probably late first quarter, early second quarter. And, again, that's what you're supposed to do when you're an SEC team and you play ULM.
Yeah, defensively, if nothing else, I wrote this on the message board, they got a ton of confidence. That's something they haven't been able to do for this season, even really against Kent State in that second half because of just what had happened earlier than that. They have the game against Southern Illinois. And, look, ULM is more talented than Southern Illinois and Kent State, and they got off the field because that's where, we have a points versus yard conversation a lot on the message board. But where they are right in saying that is for Ole Miss, just get off the field moving forward. However you have to do it, they were able to do that today. And then offensively, Jordan Ta'amu, 21 of 24, 370-something yards. He had 400 yards and 4 touchdowns of total offense, or 5 touchdowns at halftime of this game. He was, like you said, taking advantage of ULM just from an athletic standpoint that the Warhawks could match. Arkansas next week, though, better get ready to score some points. Earlier today, Arkansas puts up 30-something on Alabama. Looks like Chad Morris has found a little bit with that Arkansas team. So I'm expecting, if nothing else, a fun shootout in Little Rock next week.
Yeah, I think so too because, like you said, Ole Miss is going to come out of this game feeling pretty good about itself. Arkansas came out of its game against Alabama feeling pretty good about itself. I mean, it's a 34-point loss. If there's ever a game that an SEC team could lose by 34 at home and it be a moral victory, it was this Arkansas game. Year one with Chad Morris, he has this thing where he keeps telling them, just keep chopping, hit the tree, just keep hitting the tree. And it looks like, especially on one side of the ball, it's starting to work. On defense, they looked horrible, but everyone does against Tua Tagovailoa. So I don't know whether you can factor that in or not. But offensively, with Ty Storey at quarterback, they made him the quarterback before they played Auburn. This was, I guess, game 3 with him at quarterback, and he looks more confident. The reps that he's getting, you can tell they're starting to have some impact, and they look at this game coming up the same way Ole Miss looks at it. Hey, this is a game that we can win. And one of them's going to win one, and they come into it combined, I guess, 0-5 in the league. One of them's going to win a game, and one of them's going to walk out of that stadium Saturday night kind of feeling pretty good about the rest of their season. And if you look at Ole Miss this season, they did what they're supposed to do against ULM. If they beat Arkansas in Little Rock, it kind of changes the atmosphere around here. It gets people a little more excited for the Auburn game, for the South Carolina game. Kind of takes some of the pressure off a little bit. Not that there's any pressure, and I wrote this in my column. I don't think this is a must-win game for either team. When people act like this is critical, no, it's not. No, it's not. The plan for either Matt Luke or Chad Morris, whoever loses, the plan stays the same. But a win for either guy kind of sends a positive message inside his program and just takes some of the pressure off.
Yeah, huge for morale with Ole Miss and Arkansas next week, especially for the Rebels as they start the second half of the season. The defense gets off the field from the scoreboard standpoint, did a nice job today. Then Ole Miss got a glimpse of the future as well. Matt Corral with some nice plays, a big second half in a lot of ways. Elijah Moore did some good things. So I think Ole Miss walks out of the stadium today thinking, hey, next year there are some things to build on. Might be a fun year in some aspects after all, no matter what the rest of it looks like. So for Neal McCready, Chase Parham, Clark Ford Instant Analysis is Ole Miss is 4-2 following a win over ULM.